Welcome to episode 4 of the Light
And Dark.
podcast with your host, Up Next Joe. And
Up next, Bree.
listen, babe, how are you feeling today? We're actually doubling up today recording, so I'm gonna ask you again though. How you feeling today? We just recorded a beautiful episode.
Before I was cold, but right now I'm chilling. I'm good.
A little bit more into the flow now.
Yeah, I'm hungry. Not gonna lie.
I'm definitely hungry too. I definitely need some brain food because I'm in here trying to do a podcast and I can't even stay focused on shit because I'm hungry.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? But listen, babe. Today's episode, we're going to talk about everybody's best friend. The thing has been around since fucking before a lot of us were even born. Before all of us were born. It's been there forever and ever and ever. Our good friend, Mr. Stress. Stress is... Let me tell you something, babe. Stress be kicking my ass some days. I'm not even gonna sit up here and cap. Like, stress is like... Everybody knows what stress is, man. It's that thing that just makes you, honestly... It boosts up your anxiety. It makes your palms sweaty. It makes you just unsure about your next move. It's awful. It's the worst thing in the world. And the reason why I wanted to talk about stress in this episode is because I just hate how stress affects us on a daily day thing, and how even the slightest instance of stress can just honestly destroy your whole day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be having the best, most perfect regular day, and then all of a sudden, boom, some stressful shit hits, and then like the rest of your day is blown. Like, for me personally, when I get hit with like sudden stress, I used to be able to deal with stress very, very well. But lately, whenever I get hit with stress, like it just makes my whole brain shut down. Like, it makes me not even want to even try to even find a solution, which is weird because that's not the kind of person that I am. I've always been the person who's gonna find a solution no matter how stressful or how, you know what I'm saying, how it makes me feel. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna find a solution because at the end of the day, all things need a solution. There needs to be that one person who's gonna push through the stress and just make things just like okay. You know what I'm saying? And I try to be that person, I really do, but a lot of the times the stress stress be getting to me sometimes. Like it just, I hate it.
So if I had to throw out my little 2 cents, yeah. So I think because you're saying that you the person that likes to handle stress, or not likes, but can handle stress and figure it out. But now you're just in your head like, nah, I'm over it. Honestly, I think it's because you're burnt out, and because as humans, we can only take but so much stress. And it's like, and I like to think, and here's another theory of mine, I like to think that we really shouldn't be going through stress in life. It literally should just be you wake up, do your purpose. It might be a little stress, like, oh, what am I going to eat, or what time am I going to sleep type of thing, but not like so stressful. So I think it comes down to like some people just realizing like, yo, while I am not stress-free, but while I'm someone who can handle stress and, put the fire out type of thing, do you really want to do that every time? Do you want to do that all the time, your whole life type of thing? Like, at some point, people get tired of doing the same stuff. So, while I think you still are that person that likes to put out stress, and you are that person that does put out stress, you're just getting to the point where you're like, I'm over it, and this is not the type of energy I want to keep. I keep saying that, but it's not what you feel like is your purpose in life. Your purpose is not to de-stress people or situations, because that's just not who you are. You're not a therapist, you're not a counselor, you're not a social worker, you're not any of those things where it's like you put your life 24/7 to just take care of stress.
Right. I think honestly the thing for me is that like I'm the person who like I can honestly handle a stressful situation. Like I know that I'll be okay. But I think to like you were saying, like I'm getting burnt out, and it's got to a point where like I'm not sure how to relieve the stress that's been placed on me, and then the stress that I make for myself. So at that point, I'm just being crushed by like 2 or 3 different avenues of stress at one time. You know what I'm saying? And when you get to a point where, if you go back to episode 1, where I was trying to get out of smoking, like I'm trying to find different ways to relieve that stress. I feel like I'm like in an in-between state where like I don't know exactly what to do. Like part of me just wants to go back to the old habit of just smoking the stress away. But then at the end of the day, like even when I smoked the stress away, I still felt stress at the end of the day. Like we didn't even have the same it even had the same ability that it did when I first started to just erase all stress. You know what I'm saying? But now it gets to a point where it's like I don't know how to healthily relieve the stress, because like I said before, like now whenever I'm in a stressful situation, I just want to shut down and go to sleep because I know that I can't be bothered in my sleep.
For you, I feel like if you were to sit down and just be like, listen, while I know I'm the person to come to help, and while I love helping everybody and I like to make sure nobody's stressed, you need to just ultimately just worry about yourself. that sometimes becomes selfish to people. Like, people be like, oh, well, so you're not there for me and you don't care, you selfish. But honestly, no.
You need to be selfish, honestly.
Yes, and if they understood, if they knew and respected you and had the common sense to know that that's not selfish, that's just what you need to do for you, there's no issues. But a lot of times that's not the case. But like you just said, and I was gonna get there, it's okay to be a little bit selfish for yourself, because if you're not selfish for you, then who is? Because they're not selfish for you. They're not worried about your well-being as they're throwing stuff on top of you and expect you to handle it, forgetting that you're a person too and have your own stress and your own problems. When it comes to your own stress, to handle your own stress, you're going to figure out ways to do that. And if you're that person that doesn't do that and it just shuts down, that's a problem. You have to figure that out. But for the most part, you figure it out.
Exactly. When I'm somebody who also plans on having kids, so I can't be the person who's going to shut down when shit gets stressful. Like, that's just not healthy. You know what I'm saying? For what I'm trying to do in life. But listen, honestly, I feel like I'm going to talk it through. All right, I'm going to talk it through. So I'm going to start with, where does the basis of my stress come from? Right. So the stress that I place on myself is just the stress to be good, to be great at everything that I do. I put that stress on myself to just be the best that I possibly can be all the time, right? So that is internal stress, right? That's one form of stress. And then we have external stress, which is the stress that is placed on by other people. Like, I'm not going to put my family business out there, but like, my family can be quite stressful. Like, they are just, there's a lot of personalities, there's a lot of fucking people involved, there's a lot of shit going on, and honestly, the shit is stressful. So that's external stress. So when I think about the both of them, like, at the same exact time, it's just like, wow, like, this is such a lot on my shoulders. Like, it's a lot to just like feel and to go through every single day. And the easy part is like, oh yeah, let's just quit, let's just get it out of here, let's just not do it anymore. But then the logical person in me is like, no, that's not the thing to do. Like, that's not. I'm not a quitter. I'm not the person who's just because things are getting hard, I'm just gonna quit and stop doing shit, right? So I need to find healthier ways to work through my stress. I need to attack my stress head on instead of like trying to find ways to get over it. You get what I'm saying?
I'm gonna hold all your thoughts because I'm gonna intrude here really quick, because you said that you're not a quitter and that you don't want to quit, but you also said that you have all of this stress on your shoulders, internal and external. So you have to pick whether or not you want to have that external stress on your shoulders or that internal stress on your shoulders. One of them going to be on your shoulders. It's either way you're going to have stress unless you're stress free. So you just have to pick which one you really want on your shoulders. And it doesn't have to do with you being weak or a giving up type of person. That goes back to you saying that you have to be a little selfish for yourself, and that is okay, because not all the problems are your problems. So I wouldn't I just wanted to add my 2 cents in there, because I don't want you to think because you don't want to handle other people's stress that means that you don't care for them or their problems, or that you are someone who gives up.
I think what happens in the back of my mind is that I feel like if I don't solve the problems, then nobody will solve the problems. The problems will just remain the problem. And it's like, part of me understands I need to just be okay with that. I need to understand that not every problem is meant to be solved, and not every problem is meant to be solved by me. Like, I need to probably understand that first and foremost. But then, like, secondly, it's just like, needs to be like a part where I need to know when is the time to walk away from it. You know what I'm saying? Not like selfishly walk away, but just to be like, there's literally nothing else that I can do to fix this problem. Like, you guys have got to figure it out in yourself. And like, personally, now I think about it, I don't think I was ever really taught how to just like how to deal with stress. I think a lot of people aren't really taught how to deal with stress. You kind of just find out different ways as you grow up. You know what I'm saying? Different coping mechanisms. Like growing up, you stress about all types of bullshit. I stress about money all the time. I stress about, am I gonna have enough money to pay this bill? Am I got enough money to do this and do that? And like, it got to the point where I grew up and I didn't really money doesn't stress me out anymore, because I realized that money is fake. Honestly, money is bullshit. Money is just what the government wants. Money is government made. It's not even important in the grand scheme of everything. So once I stopped worrying about money, I was like, all right, so now I need to worry about real life stuff. You know what I'm saying? To worry about like my relationships that I keep. I need to worry about my family. And I think it's that my issue probably is that I care about my family a whole lot. Like, you know what I'm saying? I like when my family, when everything is going swimmingly in my family. I like when everybody's happy, we're all laughing and joking, good times. But I had a pretty stressful pretty stressful family situation growing up. Like, now that I think about it, like, there was always some shit going on, and like, at no point did my mom ever point call me to the side and be like, all right, so like I understand that you're going through all of this, let's talk it through. Like I think that I just like started repressing. You know what I'm saying?
Was it problems that pertained you in?
To
like
me,
were you
absolutely
in it?
not.
That's where
and
it was.
All right, and I think
she probably didn't think she had to sit you down.
I think the issue is that I'm also just like a stress-free person as it is. Like for the most part, like I don't really like hold on to things very much. Like I don't put myself in situations where I'm going to be stressed out, or like I try not to anyway. I'm not gonna say I don't all the time, but I try not to put myself in situations where I'm going to be stressed out all the time, or I'm going to be second guessing my actions and stuff like that. So maybe like I don't know. It's just really odd. Like when I think about all the shit that I went through growing up, and it's like like at no point was I ever taught like, yo, this like when shit gets hairy, this is how you should probably think about dealing with them. It was just like things kind of just like disappeared into space after a while. You know what I'm saying? And after a while, like you just forget about them. You know what I'm saying? But then you don't forget about them because they always come back up. They always come back up.
I wasn't taught how to do stress, and I feel like that's not a thing that anyone gets taught, only because 99% of people go through stress and they barely know how to deal with the stress. So while our parents probably didn't teach us about stress, it's because they was going through so much stress and didn't even know how to handle their stress and what to do with it. So how are they gonna tell us when they don't know? Like some of us know now how to get rid of stress, and it's self-care, self-love, like worrying about yourself and doing things that are gonna make you happy to eliminate that stress. So when you learn that, maybe you don't even feel like that's like a thing, because I'm sure our parents figured that out eventually. Like to relieve stress, all you gotta do is just remove yourself from whatever the situation is if it doesn't pertain to you, or just give yourself that self-care time to worry about yourself. Sit down, do things you like to relieve some of that stress. But then maybe just like click to them that maybe this is not really that effective, because while I am sitting down having my glass of wine or having the kids go to their grandma so I have time to myself, it's really not removing my stress. It's not doing anything. So
erasing it for them.
Maybe nobody really knows how to really cope through stress, so there's no really direction. There's really no direction in telling our kids how to deal with stress. I mean, I feel like for me, for you, we'd have a pretty good foundation to tell some kids to be like, listen, like when things become stressful, like telling them how they have to go through it, what they gotta do for themselves, and things like that. But I think that's only because we done been through so much stress that we're over here like, this works and this doesn't work, things like that.
Alright, so I just did a quick little Google search. I just wanted to figure out like, what does America think the best ways to relieve stress are? So here we have take care of yourself, which is what you were saying, self-love. Like eat healthy, exercise, get plenty of sleep, give yourself a break if you feel stressed out, right? Alright, cool. You can talk to others, you can share your problems and how you feel in coping with a parent, friend, counselor, doctor, or pastor. I feel like, yes, that could work, but like, couldn't that backfire in a serious way? Like, aren't you honestly just placing your stress onto somebody else, or you're just talking to them?
It can be, because I think it depends on the person. Because when someone comes to me with their stress, I'm in turn stressed.
Yeah.
So, but if I was like, I know if I was to go to my dad and tell him some stress I had, he's not the type of person where my stress, I guess it depends on stress, and it depends on the person. So it can backfire, but it doesn't have to backfire. I think that's your situation. People's stress is being put onto you, and you're creating their stress into your stress, which is giving you that external stress.
I feel like it's a thin line when you talk to, because I'm not somebody who really talks out their problems a lot of the time. You know that, when you have to fucking choke me out to really get me to just tell you how I feel about shit sometimes. But honestly, I think where it comes from for me is that like I don't want to place my burden onto somebody else. Okay. But at the same time, I don't mind when other people put their burden onto me. Which is probably like the disconnect I'm having right here, because like I feel like when I'm sitting up here telling you my problems about how I feel and shit like that, then like I said, like you said, like that just gets transferred onto you. So now like you weren't thinking about that shit before. You weren't thinking about, wow, Joe's in a tough situation. You were just living your life regular, you know what I'm saying, dealing with your own stress. But now here I am inviting my problems and you have your own problems to deal with. Like now you're just like, oh wow, like I have my own shit to deal with. But at the same time, it's like, damn, I just figured out that Joe is going through this. And if you're somebody who's helpful like that, you're gonna want to try to find a solution, which is just gonna end up taking up even more capacity in your brain, where you're focusing even less now on the things that were stressing you out, and you're focusing on trying to find a resolution for somebody else's stress. So that's probably why I'm kind of like on the edge when it comes to like, I'm like 50-50 when it comes to talking to people. I feel like you should, like when shit is getting real hairy, but like out of the times you need to just kind of like bury that shit.
So I'm my turn. I'm gonna throw my 2 cents in. I'm gonna oppose that. I feel like you should just always, obviously some things you can keep to yourself, but if in fact something is stressing you out, talk about it. And that's not up to you to figure out whether or not that person's gonna hold on to that stress too. That's on them. So if you were to come to me and talk to me about things, I might not always make it into my own stress and be stressed. I might see how you're stressed, and it might upset me or stress me that you're stressed, but that's way less than the stress you have and that you're going through and that you're telling me about. So that's up to the person to decide that and how they're going to go about that. Because listen, you know me, I like talking about my shit, and sometimes I do be sitting here like I don't want to say how I feel and what I'm going through, because like you said, I don't want you to have to stress about what I'm stressing about. But that's why I also, when I say things, I'd be like, but I don't want you to worry, or maybe this is my solutions for it. I just want to tell you because it's just good to tell somebody else how you feel and to see, and also just talk, and it sucks sometimes just talking to your damn self because you don't have anybody responding or anything. So it's just the therapy and helping yourself out. So I just say that to say, like, tell people how you feel. And obviously you can't tell everybody, but people who you think you can talk to and confide in, I'd do that because it is very helpful.
I think that my biggest problem is that, like, when I see people don't have the answer, I want to be the person to be like, all right, like, I'm putting you in the right direction. But the thing is that, like, you might be telling me a situation, I have no idea what the fuck to do with it either. I'm just as confused as you are. But to see like the look of confusion on your face, and you like honestly are just like lost, or like you're just like, yo, I don't know what the fuck to do. Everybody, I feel like the kind of person that I am, and there's a lot of people in the world like this, they want to be that guiding force. They want to be the helping hand. They want to be the one who, like I said, points you in the right direction and kind of like helps you get your mind on the right path. But at the same time, like I don't think that I think about like how that shit affects me, because like I said before, while I'm doing that, all I'm doing is just putting my shit on the back burner so I can help you, make you feel better about yourself. So I probably do need to be a little bit more selfish on my end, you know what I'm saying, and just be like, yo, like respectfully, I'm not trying to sound rude or nothing, but that's not my problem. Like I didn't do nothing. I can't really like.
And here's the thing too, Joseph. I would say that, so like, how do I go with that? So you also have to realize that if people are coming to you, and while you could have that direction that you could lead them in, that's not always your job. Like maybe if you just sit down and think like them coming to you was the direction they needed to go in, that'd be enough. You just listening to them and just acknowledging what they're going through and listening. That's literally all some people need, and from there they'll figure out the directions they need to go in. Sometimes people will be like, well, what do you think I should do, or how do you think I should handle it? That's on you to be like, listen, either I don't know, or here's what I think you should do, and this, that, and the third. So it still doesn't have you have other people's stress on your shoulders. It still allows you to worry about your stuff. You just gotta realize that you don't have to save everybody. It's okay to be selfish. It's okay to not want to save everybody. But not to be like, you just said like, oh, not to be like, yo, fuck you, I don't care about your feelings, 'cause I got my own feelings. But I sat here and I listened to you. If you don't have any questions, or if you didn't ask me for any direction, I don't have anything else to give you. If they ask for your opinion, give them your opinion. If they don't, you don't give the opinion. That's it. They just wanted someone to unload their shit. And it doesn't have to be unloaded onto you. It's just to unload their shit. And that's it. Leave it at that. So now the shit is just floating in the air. And that is okay. That person will either pick that back up to figure out what to do with it, or their problems will just stay in the air, and it'll always be a problem in the air. But that's not on you. So I think once you realize that you can't save everybody, I think you'll be a little less stressed externally.
Yeah. So basically what you're telling me is stop trying to be Superman.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's okay to not know shit.
And I don't mean like you were like, oh, but like I gotta be selfish and be like, I don't give a fuck. Like you don't have to be rude about it. But again, you still are Superman though. They're still coming to you because they know you're that person that's gonna listen and potentially give them some advice if they ask for it.
Honestly, that's probably part of my issue too. Because like over the years, I got used to just being the person who's giving, you know what I'm saying, that home run hitting advice that'll get you where you want to be. Like maybe because maybe damn, you already got me in my therapist session here thinking. All right, so maybe it's the fact that like I'm so used to like having the answers when I don't have the answer. It's like it stresses me out because it's like what's going on here? Like you usually always know what to do. You always know the right thing what to say. Why now do you not know what to say? So maybe shit. Would that not be internal stress though? Would that not be stress that I created by myself? Because
yes,
it's internal stress from like it starts off external, but then I add my own, making it internal.
Yeah, and you created it that way because all they were doing was telling you their problems, and you didn't have to be Superman and give them the answers. Unless someone is sitting there like, yo, please figure this out, and either you're gonna want to take that stress on and figure it out, whether you have the answers or not, or you're gonna be like, listen, I honestly don't know. Here's what I think or whatever, but if it becomes internal stress from you, like being like, oh, I don't have the answers, why don't I have the answers? So I understand where you're coming from, but that's ultimately on you because you are not Superman. You don't have all the answers, and 99% of the time, people know that because you were not put. There's no like sign that says, yo, this is Joseph and he has all the answers. Come to this man because he's gonna tell you everything you need to know. No, people just come to you like you said because you've been that net that they could fall on that you'd catch. That's it, and I'm not going to say, like, you got to tell them, like, listen, I'm not your net anymore, but...
I'm not your net no more. Figure it out, nigga.
Ultimately, yes. But, like, listen, like, I tried to help you, and you don't really know, and I don't really know, so you have to figure it out, because, honestly, that's your problem. Because then, if you think about it, who really helping you with your stress? Nobody but yourself.
Nobody.
That's what I'm saying.
My lovely girlfriend.
I mean, also but yourself though, because those are your own problems that you realize that you have to get through. Because there's many times that I'll vent to you and about my stress, but I know at the end of the day I'm the one that's gonna need to figure it out for myself. You might help me and push me in directions that I need to go in, but that is all on me. Like I don't expect you to put my stress on your shoulders to be like, all right, babe, this is the direction we're going in. Like, nope, push me in the direction for me to go in. Don't put the stress of others on you. That I think is ultimately a you thing. Not that maybe you don't mean to do it, but ultimately it is. You're letting everyone put their stress on you, and then in turn you're like, fuck, I don't know what to do with this stress. And then it makes you stressed about having stress on top of the stress you have within yourself already.
So subconsciously it just means, it sounds like I need to just be like, shit is not that serious. Like, you don't have to be the answer.
Superman, yes.
You don't have to come with the answer all the time. Sometimes you gotta just sit back and listen.
Yes, that's all it is. Not everybody needs answers. Not everybody wants answers. Sometimes when I vent to you, I don't always want to answer. I just want to tell you how I feel. I just want to unload and have my shit flow in the air. And I'll pull it back into myself and figure out what I'm going to do with it. But I just want it to be out there. I didn't need you to tell me what I should do, because then you do that sometimes, and then where you thought you had the answer, people don't even do that, what you said to do. Where you thought it was...
They don't listen 9 times out of 10.
And it's like, it's not that they don't listen. It's just, it's their own stress, and they're going to handle their own stress how they want to handle their own stress. And that's... You're going to make yourself stressed out because you're like, damn, I just gave you the answer. You're not doing it. But they're going to figure it out. And then their stress is going to eventually... That stress, for whatever it was, is going to fade away. And now here it is still on your conscience, because you're like, I wouldn't have handled it that way. And this is what I said to do, and you ain't do it this way. So again,
it's also tough watching people just do stupid shit too.
I mean, it definitely is.
It's like, it's like, yo, what's good with niggas? Like, I tried to give you the blueprint. Like, I gave you, like, because I feel like when I'm giving advice, I'm giving you an unbiased opinion. Like, I'm giving you the opinion of somebody who just wants the problem to get solved and all parties to be happy, right? That's where I feel like I come from. So to watch somebody, you give them that advice, and they're kind of just like, well, good looking out, but fuck what you just said, I'm gonna do me regardless. It's like, damn, nigga. Like, first of all, you shouldn't have told me that shit in the first place, because, like, now I feel like I gave you the blueprint, you just said, fuck the blueprint, I'm gonna use the red print or some shit. Like,
It's ultimately offensive to you because like you
Yeah.
just gave me your stress and I tried to help you handle it and you just didn't care. So now I have your stress on my shoulders.
Right, and part of me is like, yo, man, you should have just kept that shit to yourself.
Yes.
Like, what the fuck was the point of telling
That's
me?
where you gotta realize, like, no, you don't need to solve everything for everybody. And you don't have to solve anything for anybody at all. Honestly, you just listen to people and that's it. Be like, listen, honestly, I don't know. Like, listen, that's how my dad is. Like, I'll tell him something, and he might not always have the answer, but he'll tell me what he think about it, and that's about it. And sometimes I'll be sitting there like, not gonna lie, he didn't really help me out much. Like, sometimes I don't look for answers from people when I talk, but sometimes from my dad I do, and it's like he don't always have the answers, and he don't try to give me answers, because then I won't go with them. I'll do my own thing, because I'm a grown-ass person, I'm going to do what I want. So for him, I'm thinking this is what he does. I don't know for sure, but for him to save the stress of my problems, he's just going to tell me what he thinks or what he would do or whatever, and wipe his hands with it. That's it. And however you handle it, whatever you do with that is on you. Like,
that sounds crazy as fuck though to me. That sounds crazy. I don't know.
That's how
I
you
don't
have
know
to
why.
be.
I feel it though. That just sounds crazy because it's like maybe it's just the fact I think too low of people sometimes.
Maybe.
Like I feel like a lot of the times people don't know how to solve their own shit. Because if they did, then they wouldn't come to you with it. You get what I'm saying? Like people coming to you and unloading to me is just like, it sounds like, nigga, like, help me. I need some answers. Like,
but it's
I
not
don't
that.
know what I'm
That's
doing.
where you gotta realize that it's not. It's just them unloading. You just looked up a way to relieve stress, not answer stress, not fix stress, but a way to relieve stress is to talk to somebody, whoever that may be. And that's like I said, that's just you unloading, and it's just you putting that out in the world, saying it with your own voice. To see. Here's an example I'm gonna use. When I was in a toxic ass relationship for 10 years, I always complained to my dad. For a while, my dad, in the beginning at least, my dad had all the answers for it. Like, this is what you should do. Just leave. Whatever the advice was to my stress, he had it. You think I listened?
Of course not.
Of course not, because I continued to be into the toxic ass relationship however long. But I ain't stopped going to my dad for no advice and to unload, because ultimately I needed to unload because I couldn't unload with that person. So I had to unload some way, otherwise it would have made me go insane. And it did make me go insane, where I was depressed and self-harming and shit like that. So that's also probably why people do unloading, so that it doesn't make them go crazy, because then people go crazy. But so after like maybe the first 100 times, I'm being dramatic, but after the first 100 times of him being like, here's a solution to your stress, and me not taking that solution, he was like, listen, clearly you're gonna do what you want, and I'm gonna let you do what you want, because you're your own person and you're gonna figure it out on your own. Here's what I think. That's it. Here's what I think. Here's what I would do. Here's what I did if he was in the same situation. Figure out where you fit in that and where you can go with that. And literally, once my dad started giving me that type of advice, where it was like, here's what I think and here's what you could do, not telling me what to do, but telling me what he did or what could be done or whatever, it's like I listened a little more. It's like I didn't want to listen to him, what he was telling me to do, because like, I'm not coming to you for you to tell me what to do.
That sounds wild as hell.
It does sound, but Joseph, once you realize that that's how people are and that's what it is, you, like, that's what I'm saying, you'll have less stress. So like when I started coming to my senses, like, yo, Dad, like, you was right, and this is how I feel, and this is what it is, he'd be like, I know. I knew you would come here eventually. I was telling you, you ain't listened till now, but here you are, and I know, and I understand. It's like, yeah, thanks for that. And it's like,
but here's the thing. Here's the person that I am, though, right? So if you come to me with your advice time and time again, right? Especially with the same situation. So like you said, the first time I'm gonna give you like, yo, like, do this. Like, if you feel this strong, I'm gonna always give you an option. But I'm like, yo, if you feel this strongly about it, then you should do this. You should do this time and time again. The first, like, after like 10, 15 times, I'm gonna be like, yo, I'm not gonna lie. Don't come to me with this shit, because you obviously don't want it solved. Now, is that selfish? Absolutely, in a way, because I'm telling you to figure your shit out like you should. But like, it's also the point where it's like, yo, you sitting up here and ignoring my advice time is bothering me, because I'm telling you what to do to make you feel better, and here you are basically saying fuck that, I'd rather feel like shit. Like that's the shit that blows my mind. So like to hear you say, you were like, oh yeah, my dad told me the first 100 times what to do, and then like time 101 he said, well listen, you'll figure it out when you figure it out, and that made you listen. It's like, but this nigga told you 100 times what to do.
But that's just how people are. And here's also like, that's how people are. But that's my dad. So my dad was able to stick around telling me 100 times, me not listening, and then coming the 110th time and him being like, listen, I understand where you're coming from, because that's how it was for me. And like, he's still sticking around. He ain't get to the point where he's like, yo, listen, I'm not helping you no more. Figure it out yourself. Don't come to me with this drama because it's stressful to me. He ain't say that because I'm his child, or maybe because it never got to that point for him yet. But you gotta figure out who you want to help and who you're going to continue to coddle, honestly, because that's what you're doing with people with that unload their stress on. You're coddling people. So, all right, so how much coddling do you want to do?
None, honestly. But when it comes down to it, so listen, I want to throw out a similar situation, right? I had a friend who was going through a very toxic situation, right? Mm-hmm. They were like, oh my gosh, like they were constantly stressed out, constantly angry. They were just like, you could tell they were bottling stuff up, and that it was starting to really affect them. Mm-hmm. And like time and time again, I told them like, yo, my God, you gotta just let this motherfucker go, let him go. Like look. And the thing I love to do is like, I love to be like look at yourself, look how they make you feel. Mm-hmm. How do you feel when you're with them? And the person will be like, oh, I don't feel good when I'm with them. I'm upset. I'm angry. Mm-hmm. Like why do you like all we do is argue? And at the end, I always ask the same question: why are you with them? Mm-hmm. Right? And then it's always the same thing. It's always just I don't know, and then I'm like, yo, so like the conscious thinking person in me is like, yo, get out of there, Scrap. What are you doing?
It's easier, it's easier said than done type of thing. Or when you're out looking in, it's easier to say that, because like I said, for me, I don't know why it took me so damn long to realize what everybody else looking in was seeing, but that is just people, that is just humans and what they do. Any situation, whatever the situation is, that's just it. People are going to realize and see what they want to see when they are ready to see it, when they want to see it. Mm-hmm. I seen a lot of my problems going through my whole relationship, how it was toxic. I seen it, but I tell you, I was ignoring them shits and being naive to them until I didn't want to ignore them anymore, until I didn't want to be naive to them anymore. It's just how people are. And you can't change people. You can help people, but you can't change people. So you can tell them, listen.
Trying to expedite the process.
And some people you can do that with. Some people will take your word and be like, yeah, you're right. Like, a lot of girls are like that. When they friends be like, yo, leave that man because he's not it. Some girls will be like, yeah, you're right. I got to leave you because my girl said you're not it. Boom. Mm-hmm. Some girls, no. Some people, no. It depends on the person and it depends on the situation. And it's just humans. And you got to realize that. You can tell somebody the answer to how to win $1 million, and they're either going to want to take it or they're not. And you can't be mad if they take it or if they don't. It is what it is. They're going to do what they want. I can, though,
if it costs you $1 million.
Listen, but you can't, though. You didn't give that advice to yourself because you probably didn't need it, or it probably wasn't your type of situation to give to yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Give it to the other person. You're going to be mad because they didn't take it? Or because they took it, like, that's not on you. That's not your situation. That's not your problem.
Alright, so I'm not gonna be mad, but I'm gonna feel a way where you're like, oh man, how come I don't have $1 million? It's because you didn't want to listen, dummy.
Listen, but at the end of the day, that's not your problem. You still gonna continue to live the life you live. You're not $1 million richer or $1 million poorer, so it doesn't really matter. You still live the same life. They can complain and be like, yo, I wish I would have got that, but it's like, in your head, you knew you had the answer, and you gave them the answer, and they didn't want it. What can you do with that? You can be mad at people, and then that in turn makes you feel like I can't fuck with you because you dumb. But that ultimately, that's people, and then you'll never have friends or never have a human contact because people are gonna do what people want to do. And when you realize that, it's a little better.
I've been realized people are dumb, and I still don't feel better about it.
I mean, but do you realize that, like I said, when people, you give them the advice, and it's up to them whether they take it or not. And you have to be okay with that.
With them not taking the advice?
Yes.
I am until you bring it back to me.
No, that's what I'm saying. You have to. I'm gonna use my friends for an example.
Let's hear it.
They came to me with all this stress, wanting me to help them, right? Mm-hmm. and I held them as best as I can. But every time they came back, I'd be like, listen, I just told you the answer to that. Why are you still asking me? Still gonna keep going, still gonna keep trying, because I'm the type of person I am like you. I like to help and I like to be there for people, and if I have the answers, I'm gonna give it. But how much do you think I'm going to give until it's like I cannot give anymore? For some people, you can do that. If it was my child, you my child, I'm gonna be around forever giving you the advice. I might not, like how my dad is, I might not always give you the advice how you want or whatever, but after a while, you don't want to do it. So, and that's what you have to figure out. You have to figure out when you want to become selfish. I have no friends. If you listen to the other episode, you know this. I have no friends because I refuse to have other people's stress become my stress. Because you want to live how you want to live, and that's it. I'm not mad that you want to live how you want to live. I'm not mad that you want to choose stress over good energy. But I am mad that it's taking a turn in my life, and it's affecting how I go about shit and how I live. So I'm going to separate myself from that, because who you finna stress out? Not me. And that's what I'm saying. In turn, that becomes selfish to people, but you have to be a little selfish. It doesn't mean no fuck you. It can be that. It can mean that if that's how niggas want to go. But it doesn't mean, like, when I told my friends, like, I'm not y'all friend, I can't, like, I didn't even say I'm not y'all friends. I just said, listen, y'all just stressful, and I'm not down with it. They either was gonna be like, listen, Bree, I apologize for putting you through this, and here it is, and how we go about it, or fuck you, you selfish, which is the case. It was you selfish, you don't want to help, and things like that. And it's like, nah, I've been doing nothing. Yeah, I've been doing nothing but helping you, and I'm using up all my help that I'm not putting myself through that and through that stress. So I'm gonna remove myself. That's part of being selfish. At the end of the day, I still sleep good at night. I still have a good life. I still have good energy. Call me selfish, but look at me living okay. Like that's just, I guess, how you have to look at it.
I don't know, man.
You have to be comfortable with being selfish and not always being that helpful person to people. Being Superman.
That's probably my homework for after the podcast. Just I'm gonna have to sit down and think about it some more, because right now, as it currently states, like, you got not you, but most people got like 2 or 3 times to come to me with the same issue. You come to me with the same issue 2 or 3 times after I didn't give you the solution after the first 1 or 2 times. The third time I'm just be like, yo, like, I told you what the blueprint is. You obviously like being stressed out, and at that point the advice is gonna come off as aggressive and brash, because, like, my nigga, I just told you what to do, and you, like, are constantly just sitting there telling me, like, no, nigga, that's not it. And it's like, I don't know. Because, like, so relating it back to my family situation, like, I give these niggas the blueprint all the fucking time. Like, all the time. Like, yo, if y'all want to just solve these problems, just do this. Like, and maybe that's also me feeling like I know everything. You know what I'm saying? Maybe feeling like I got all the answers. But, like, I feel like I'm a knowledgeable person. I feel like I'm somebody who understands human behavior enough to know how to, you know what I'm saying, how to come to, like, not somewhere where everybody's happy, where, like, everybody is, like, satisfied, like, everybody's just okay, living their life accordingly. Like, if niggas come to me and they're like, oh, Joe, I can't fuck with so and so because they did this and we could just never be friends again, I'm not gonna hit you with the, oh no, you need to do what you gotta do to be their friend again. I'm gonna hit you with the, listen, it comes to a point you gotta just be okay with not fucking with this person. Like, you gotta be okay living your life without them. And, like, I don't know if people, like, go to sleep and, like, their emotions change or what the fuck happens. But, like, when they come to me 2 weeks later with the same thing, like, you know what, so and so, and I'm like, you still fucking with them? Like, I thought we was done with them. I thought we was cool off them. So now in my head it rings off that you a bozo, because you just like being stressed out. You like not being healthy. You like not being happy. Essentially, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Listen, maybe I'm just rude.
You're not rude, babe. Like I said, you're just someone that. Listen, I really understand, because this is how I was. I'm not gonna say am, because I'm not trying to be that person that just holds on to stress. But you just always want to help somebody, and you always want to have to answer. But when you realize that you always will have the answer, because then if you didn't, you wouldn't give it, right? Mm-hmm. So you always have something to give to somebody. But when you realize that they're gonna take it how they want and do with it what they want, and then that's not on you, I promise you'll be a little bit less stressed with that. So when you tell so-and-so to stop messing with so-and-so because obviously they're not doing it for you, and if they continue to do it, That's them. That's on them. That's their stress that they have to continue to go through. Now that is up to you whether when they come back 2 weeks later, if they want to tell you, that's up to you to say, well, here's what I said last time, and here's what you should do now. Or it's up to you to be like, yo, honestly, I already told you, and you still continuing. And
being unhappy.
And yeah, and it's like I don't have no answers for you because I had the answers for you and you ain't like it and you ain't do that. So I don't know what to tell you. Like I don't have. You can either say, listen, don't tell me no more, or my answers continue to be the same from what I said last time, and I'm not going to keep repeating myself because I don't want to sound like a broken record. So again, that's all on you. When external stress comes into you, you literally don't have to pull that into you. Block that however you feel to be blocked. Like for me and you, I can come to you for the same problem, and I did at some point. It was probably about my friends being stressful, and it's like, listen, you either gonna want them to stress you out or you're not. And I was letting them stress me out, and I still came to you like, listen, I'm not fucking with this. It's like, it's making me upset. And it's like, listen, babe, I already told you the solution. Figure it out. It took me a while to figure it out, but I figured it out. And it's probably because I'm your girlfriend. You're like, listen, I'm gonna help her. If she comes to me 5 more times, I'm gonna be annoyed them 5 more times, but I'm gonna still help her. So it's just who you want to help and how you want to help them. If your grandma comes to you with some BS and it's like, grandma, I already told you 3 times already, chances are you're going to tell her 2 more times if she comes to you 2 more times. But it's like, after that second time, you're like, listen, grandma, I already told you. I love you and you're my grandma, so I'm going to let you keep coming to me, but you stressing me out with this. So she's either going to say, listen, you right, I'm going to stop telling you, or I'll take your advice or whatever. That's on her, that's on them. Not your situation, not your problem.
Yeah. Honestly, that's exactly what it is. Honestly, that's what happened just now. I was just talking to some people about a situation. They're all stressed out and they're like, "Oh, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?" They're like, "Oh, Joe, you need to talk to them. You need to talk to them." I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not doing no more of this talking and shit, because at the end of the day, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with you. I don't have a problem with the other person. Like, I love you both dearly. So, like, you niggas need to figure that shit out. That's just honestly what I just said. Like, and the thing is that it kind of pained me to say it, though. I'm not gonna lie. But, like, I feel like me dealing with other stress on top of that shit is just gonna end up being a volatile situation where I'm gonna end up blowing up on niggas, and then y'all gonna be mad when I'm not talking to y'all.
And you're gonna be mad at yourself because it's like, I let their situation get to me, where now it's getting to that. So that's what. Listen, you don't have to be rude when you tell people I don't care and I don't want to hear about this because I did it, but they have no. If you give them the respect, they have nothing but respect to give back to you. If you say, listen, I tried, but I can't, they're gonna, like I said, if you was telling your grandma, she's either gonna say, listen, you right, and I'm sorry, or she's gonna continue, and you're gonna have to, that's when you have to tell people about themselves. But that's on a person basis.
I think I might need to rework my personality, not my personality, but like reevaluate how I react to certain things. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I want to be like the person. I don't know. I'll always be a person who has an opinion and has what I feel like is the answer. But like, maybe I need to give it less and kind of just let shit just rock as it is.
I wouldn't. Unless that's what you feel like you need to do, because then ultimately that would be changing you as a person. Because you're not somebody who's gonna give less. You like to help, like you said earlier. But know your limits and your boundaries, yours. So if someone, like I said, if someone's coming to you 10 times, you either gonna let them come to you 10 more times to continue to stress you out, or you're not. Right. That's know your limits. So you don't have to be like giving them the bare minimum, unless that's, like I said, unless that's something you want to do and if you want to change as a person. But me knowing you as a person, that's not the type of person you are. You're not gonna be like, I don't know, bro, figure it out. You ain't gonna do that. You're gonna tell people the answers and expect them to go with that. It's up to you whether or not you want to continue to help after the 1, 2, 3 times. If you want to continue to put the stress on your shoulders, and stop doing that. Stop putting other stress on your shoulders. Like when people, like you just said, when someone was like, "Oh, you have to. I need you to figure it out. I need you to talk to this person." It's like you hit them with the, "No, I actually don't. Though you got to talk to them because that's your problem." Like you just said, it's not your problem. In a nice way, and then in turn you'll feel like a good person because you helped. No, I wasn't going to talk to them because that's not my problem. But you talk to them because that's the solution, and I'm giving you the solution. So you'll still feel good because it's like I'm still helping you.
Okay. All right, Dr. Bree's in the building.
No.
Man, I don't know, man. She just be bothering me, man.
I know.
Like, not a lot of things bother me, but like unnecessary stress bothers me, honestly. That's probably what it is. Like, I hate when things are stressful and they don't have to be. Because, like, for me, things are so black and white. Like, if you have a problem, just approach that motherfucker with the problem. And from that point on, you guys will just know how to act accordingly.
But not everybody's you. When you realize that. Not everybody's you, and not everybody thinks like you. Everybody thinks like themselves.
Niggas is tripping, Mo. That's my professional opinion of it all. Niggas be tripping.
Because if you ever think about it, sit down and be like, have you ever been in a situation where someone was trying to tell you something and you really didn't listen?
All the time. That's also a weird thing. Like,
because it's you, and you're gonna do what you want. And while you'll take other people's advice and you hear them, and you might even understand what they're saying, it's like, but I think I know what I want to do, and I think I know how to handle it and how I want to do it. So you're gonna do that, and it's not. And also, like, realize, like, it's not. You're probably not even trying to say to them like, "Fuck you" and your advice, and it's invalid. You hear it, you understand it, but you're your own person. It's your situation, and you're gonna want to deal with it how you want to deal with it.
I don't know. I think it kind of stems from more of a point of view of like where I said at the beginning, where like I don't unload my problems on people. Like, the only person I really tell my issues is probably you, and it's because you get it out of me. You're like, you can see it on my face, and you're like, babe, what's wrong, and tell me what's wrong, and eventually I break and I tell you. But like, outside of that, I don't really go to anybody with my problems. You know what I'm saying? So when I do receive advice from, I don't know, maybe somebody overheard the issue, or somebody thinks they know my situation and they want to chime in my head, I'm like, yo, my nigga, I didn't ask for your opinion. I didn't ask for your advice. Why are you giving it to me? Not to be rude, but like on some like shit where like, if I'm somebody who feels like they have the answer, somebody where they feel like they can come to their own conclusion, why would I want your opinion? As that sounds very rude, and I say it out loud, but like it's real life though. It's like
I understand.
It's like why would I want your opinion if I already know how I feel about it?
You have to step out, and now they're the outsider. Like, you are in people's situation, they're the outsider in your situation. So they feel like they know and they can see what you need to do. So they're gonna tell you for your good interest. Sometimes it might not be your best interest. Maybe somebody's just talking, but for the most part, they're telling you for your best interest. And again, that is on you whether you take it or not. Whether you want to take that advice, whether you want to hear them. And you can still hear them and still say what you said, like, I didn't ask and I don't care. But then that's people though. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They're gonna do what they want, because whether they don't care or they heard you and didn't want to take it, they're gonna do what they want. But because they're stepped out of the situation, they're looking into your situation. They're like, okay, well, you complaining about this, you have this problem, here's why, because I'm from outside looking in, here's what I see, and you're just inside just looking from everything. So because I'm the same way. I hate when people sometimes I hate when people give me advice. 99% of the time I don't ask for advice. But people, and sometimes it be with you, and you be like, yo, babe, why you getting hostile? I'm just trying to tell you something, and I'm just trying to give you some advice. And it's like, well, I didn't ask for that, nigga. But while I say that in my head, I also appreciate, on the other half of my head, I'm also like, I appreciate it because you're not wrong, but I didn't ask.
On my side, I'm like, yo, why is this nigga talking to you, Joe? You know what you're doing, B. I don't know. Maybe that's something I need to work on then. I need to just focus on not understanding that I don't have all the answers. That's for one. And understanding that sometimes an outside opinion is needed. You know what I'm saying?
And understand that people are people, and people are going to be themselves. And you can't change that. And you're not going to be that person to change that. Because, first of all, you're not nobody's dad. You're not a superhero where you can change people. Yet. Anyways, like, and even if when you are someone's dad, it's like,
I was talking about the superhero part.
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. No, you did not.
My bad. Go ahead.
Is this nigga serious?
Has a heart attack.
Listen, I forgot where I was going with that. But when you realize that you're not to save all and all that, I promise you'll have a little better of a life. I really do. Like, you don't have all the answers, Joseph, and you're not everyone's savior, and that is okay. And I was about to say, when you have kids and you are someone's dad and you feel like you're going to tell them, like, yo, I'm your dad and I have all the answers, I've done this and that, chances are they're still human. They're still their own person. They're still gonna go through it. Because I'm sure you did that growing up. Because I did that growing up. My dad told me all these things. Both my parents like, yo, this is not it. You don't do this, do that, or whatever. And it's like, you lived your life how you want to live it. Now I'm gonna live my life how I want to live it. I hear you when you say that's not a good idea, and I might not do the exact thing that's not a good idea, but I'm gonna dance around it to see what I can and can't do. Because that's humans. We are curious people. We like to do things on ourselves. We like to feel like we're not dependent. We're independent. We like to feel like we can do things on our own. Meantime, we cannot. You cannot create a baby on your own. You cannot solve stress on your own. You just can't. It's just life. When you realize that, it'll be easier.
Man, I know some people are probably listening to this podcast right now. They're like, damn, I'm not gonna lie, I've been a hypocrite my whole life. Because I ain't gonna lie, I do be like, yo, people are just people. People are gonna do what they want. But at the same time, I be getting upset when people do what they want. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe that's my big internal conflict. Like, I feel like I know it all, and maybe I'm realizing that I don't. Mm-hmm. So that's when it's like, maybe that's what's causing more of the internal stress from the external stress.
You know it all in your life, and you know it all for what you go through, but you don't know it all about what somebody else goes through or what they experience. You only know what you know and what's in your life. You don't know it all with the whole world. You're not the smartest man in the world. You're a very smart man, but not the smartest man in the world. You don't know everybody's problems. You don't know all the problems. Somebody's problem was probably never your problem. So how would you know? How would you have the answers if you never been through that?
Exactly.
So
I can only go through. Okay.
You know it. You know a lot, Joseph, and then you know everything that pertains to your life, and maybe similar situations, but you don't have all the answers. You don't know everything when it comes to the world and when it comes to other people. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's where you disconnect.
So, in conclusion, I need to stop talking to other people.
No. What? Unless you want to, but that doesn't sound like an answer.
I get you, Dr. Bree. I appreciate you taking your time and talking to me.
Because you're annoying.
You know what I'm saying? But no, yeah, for real. Yeah, when it comes to stress, I think that for me, it's just going to have to start with understanding people are people. Mm-hmm. People are going to do what they want, and that people are going to make their mistakes, which is just weird, which is really odd for me to say out loud, because I've known this already. Like, I've said it to other people, but I guess I never said it to myself. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's what's been causing some conflict within me, you know? Huh. Well, listen, I got to do some internal thinking and figure out what the fuck's going on in my world. Thanks for that one, Dr. Bree.
Listen, that's like part of the podcast. Is somebody will be listening to this, and while it was more like, it wasn't really personal for this.
It kind of was like a therapy session, but no, I can relate to other people.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, people will sit here and be like, yo, like, I understand that, and that's how it is, and yeah, they right, or whatever. Like, they'll be able to relate and understand, because that's life. Yes. Stress is a bitch. It's a motherfucker.
But honestly, we're all gonna go through it. We're all gonna have to find ways to deal with it at the end of the day. So find the way that works best for you. Honestly, the best healthy way.
And a way to deal with the stress, not just ignore the stress, because you honestly, while we all have stress, you don't have to like live with it. You don't have to be like, yeah, I'm stressed because I don't know, I don't have that much money. It's like, you're either going to be able to control that and change how much money you get, or you're not, and you just don't stress about it. Like Joseph said in the beginning, like, he doesn't stress about money anymore because money is not a thing. Like, it's not something that's important to stress over. So now he eliminated that stress. So when it comes to stress, deal with that shit. Don't just let it linger. Don't just continue. And if you are someone who does just want stress to linger, some people do. Some people do like stress, and it's the only thing they have going for themselves, problems, and they just hold on to that and just makes them feel like something's going on in their life. And if that's the case, then you're a stressful person, and you need to be to yourself and handle your own shit. Talk to your own demons. Yes, because there's people that just unload and just...
It's not fair to them. It's not fair to other people.
And it's never enough unloading. It's just always unloading. And it's like, damn.
You always going through something?
Like, something. that can't be it.
But yeah, definitely try to find a healthy way to go deal with your stress. Work through it, like Bree said. Don't just try to get over it. Try to work through your stress.
Or ignore it or mask it, because it's going to be there.
It's going to be there. It's all about how you get over it, how you work. I keep saying get over it. How you work through it. That's what we're going to keep saying. How you work through your stress. Mm-hmm. Huh. Now I gotta do some more exercises. I gotta figure out some shit about myself some more. Thanks, Dr. Bree, for this great, amazing episode of The Light.
I am not a doctor, y'all. I did get my degree in human services.
That means she's a doctor, y'all.
Nope, there's no PhD in there.
That means she can become a case manager somewhere, which means that she could become a therapist, low key, because that's all case management is therapy.
But I'm not a doctor. I'm not a cure-all person.
She's a case manager. She's not a doctor.
I'm a human just like anybody else.
She's a case manager.
We're going to talk about it as humans.
All right.
That's all.
Well, listen. That's all I have for episode 4 of the Light and Dark Podcast, episode 4, with our hosts, Up Next Joe and
Up Next Bree.
And listen, if you guys are going through something stressful, then listen, find ways to work through it. If you guys want to have a conversation with either me or Bree about stress, you can DM us. I'll put our links. I can't talk right now. I'll put our ad names and stuff in the bio so that you guys we can just conversate. We can find different ways how to work through our stress. Sound good to everybody? Great. Sounds great to me. All right, and we will see you guys in the next episode.
Bye.
Peace.